please help me in welcoming Iverson.
I just wanted to show you how the process that I have developed, or especially this film, I kind of start from the screen to script and then back to the screen in a way, where I actually work out visually from a concept point of view what I'm going to make by going to the locations and writing to the location, and the identity of that location is what informs the story. And this is my number one thing, because I think if as an artist, if I don't do that, I'm just making stuff up, and that's not why I do what I do. I'm here on this planet and I'm actually trying to show my interpretation of what I see around me. And this section of the film, I'm just showing you how I kind of just set up the world visually, from a space and time aspect. The way he meets the people, I just had this thing in my head of just being very wide to begin with and allowing the landscape to kind of be dominant, as it is dominant out there, which is kind of that whole thing of that landscape or the location being the source of how I tell the story. And then we get closer to the characters as the scene progresses, and that's how I kind of introduced all of the characters as Travis connects with the characters to his job.
Travis Hurley.
I said I'll take care of it.
When I did those early locations trips, I also took I do sound recording as well. Anyway.
Charlie? Where are you going with that fucking gun?
This is what I wanted to show. There's all this dialogue here. I spoke to Rob about this just the day before this. We did this. There's all this stuff about him blaming himself that Leon came into contact with Leon. And I just told Rob, I'm just going to cut all this crap. And he has the crying and everything in the caravan. So he lies down on the bed, and so I've moved all that Miss Charlotte stuff out of that. So I didn't even shoot that. I just shot him there as it is, and moved. As I'm shooting the film, like the next morning or whatever, I'm cutting that dialogue out and putting it into this, just to show you how you stay alive, how I try to stay moving and alive, and as a writer, constantly just at the script when you're out there and trying to keep it as pure and as lean as possible to tell the story. And because that affects how if that dialogue in there, it affects how you cover things too.
Like cutting all that dialogue out, I think it really shows that you chose showing, not telling. What is your process when balancing out?
Like I could have just cut those lines out, say, in post, right? But you wouldn't get that performance from him. And the whole thing would feel different. Because he's in a state where he can't deliver those lines, and for me that's his most powerful performance in the whole film. This area here, and if you do it before post, it allows you to use all your resources to tell that part of the story correctly and more truthfully, instead of just trying to band-aid it later.
The very first description of the first sequence, you use it says. Can you hear me? It has the word, has the word red, which means to me the red dirt, right?
You mean the color, right?
The color. So did you conceive this film at this time in color, and did it come black and white later, or take us through that decision?
At this point, in my mind, the film was black and white, but when I first wrote that sequence, it was colour because it feels right. It's like these people living in a memory. It suits the tonality of Cooper Pedy. We know that place. That was, as soon as I got to town, I knew that place had to be the cafe where she worked, and so there's something about that floor, and I thought, well, that looked good in black and white. And then you've got the high, the brightness outside as well, and the silhouette-ish thing, and the car. I mean, the car. And there's another story. That's another prop I had to kind of take care of. The car was very important for me for this car. It just had the right feeling. And as soon as we did get it out from the Blue Mountains all the way there, and as soon as it came, I got my camera out and got to know how my camera and that car connected. That was really important for me to have that relationship begin very, very, very quickly. And then we're going through, a few days before we start, we're locking down the costume and the glasses. And then I put him into the car and everything started to feel good. Then I started turning things black and white. And I'm thinking, wow, look at that. Look at that. But, 90% of the time looks fantastic, and there's this like a small amount of the time, maybe 10%, even less, where you think, wow, that looks beautiful in colour. It's like, but it's not the majority. And an important thing I did, once Simon got those clothes on, and he didn't even have his tats yet, I took the camera and we went to some hills within the town, and he had a chance to just be Travis, first time. No one there except for me and him, me with the camera and him, and I said, okay, just walk around, you're Travis now, and just be Travis. And so he had a chance to kind of find Travis without anyone around and feel an actor, sometimes I'll say the clothes aren't important, but I think they really are. So once he got those clothes on and he started walking around those hills, and he started to feel Travis. I think environmental portraiture is something I've always been into with stills, and it's like what I'm doing. It's like the environment informs the characters, informs the story.
Directing program here, and I've written and directed, but we get a lot of time to reflect, and we're forced to reflect, which is good. But you said you reflected here a lot too, and I was just wondering, I'm at a stage where it's very existential questioning of, why am I making something? Why am I doing this? Why this form?
I think you need that, and that feeling of questioning. That is the perfect inspiration. Like that will turn. It's kind of like when I'm writing something, you have this. You go through some bad emotion feeling, and from experience, even though it doesn't feel good, it's great because you know that is like something that's like an egg that's coming out, and then it's going to be great. Whatever that thing is, that bad emotion, it's going to come out and it's going to just reveal itself in some kind of work. And after you've been through that process a few times, you get used to it. So you just wait it out, and then it's gonna come good. It's almost like to create something, you just gotta have some really bad feelings. But the important thing is to know that that's a process, and it's kind of a natural thing, maybe, I don't know. As a creator, a writer, director, you get to the point where all of a sudden you just feel, holy shit, this film making thing is like, the more sensitive you get to it, the more it gives you and the more it opens up. And it can kind of be anything you want it to be. As long as you just are sensitive to it. And what I'm saying is that it's such a special, special thing. And I would never dream of doing anything else. Because I feel more intimate with it and more engaged with it and what it can be. And I think that is largely due to technology, where you You know, you got the large format cameras at home and the editing at home, and you walk into that room and you've got everything you need to put that DCP on the screen, everything, including the software to make the DCP. So it's like immediate. There's nothing stopping you, sort of thing. It's almost like before painters could just paint on the wall and make their artwork, but now you can actually do that with film. Film is, you know, there's always an audience, whether it's art house and it's a type of art house or it's teenage horror movie. But to be aware of that from the beginning.
Thank you very much. We are literally, the building is closing in 1 minute. But I want to say,
the alarms are going off.
yeah, we're going to be locked in like it 20 years ago.
Ellen's going home.
But can you all just join me and say thank you very much to Aaron? That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you for giving us all that.